record. Okay, so let's take a look at this. I'm going to take, we have three categories here. Employed, not employed, and unable to work, right? Those are the three categories we have. We only want two categories, employed, unemployed. Okay, so I got to create a new variable. I'm going to go up to transform, recode into different variables. So now I'm going to take that particular variable, employed. If I hover over it, it'll show me the whole variable. Employment status, three categorical variables, three values, categorical variable. I'm going to put it in here and tell it I want to make it, turn it into a new EMP3. I'm going to change it into a new variable. And that new variable I'm going to call EMP2, employment with two variables in it. Okay, I just made the name up. Okay, and this is employment. I'm going to call it employment status as a label. Right? This is just going to be a label for charts or whatever. So it really doesn't mean all that much. So now I'm going to tell it what the values are going to be. I don't want three, I just want 1 and 2. So I'm going to tell it what was one was employed.
Yeah.
Okay. How about if I do a little trick here and I say make 1, 2 in a new variable and make 2, 1 in the new variable. Okay. And I'm not going to copy over 3 at all. The new variable EMP2 is going to have just 1s and 2s in it, and it's not going to have the 3s. It's just going to leave the 3s out. Okay, I'm going to click continue. The other thing that I did was I also changed the value of the 1 and the 2. I flipped them so that now 1 is unemployed, 2 is employed.
Why'd you do that?
We're about to see that. Okay, it's going to make sense to you in a second. I'm going to click change to go ahead and see it. Then it makes the change. And then you can hit OK. It wouldn't let you hit OK until you change. And I click OK. So now a new variable is going to appear there. And here's a new variable. You can see 2s and you can see 1s, but there's no 3s, which is exactly what we want. Notice it's not coded, so I have to go back here and code it, right? So I'm going to go back here and code it. And what is 1 equal to for this one?
Unemployed.
Yeah, unemployed. And, okay, and 2 is equal to employed.
You're going to send this recording to me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
2 is employed. I'm going to click OK. So now let's go over here to Analyze, Scripted Statistics, Crosstabs, right? Now I'm going to take the new variable we made. I'm going to take this out of here. I'm going to put the new variable we made in here. And the columns is going to be first told that you're depressed. I'm going to click OK. Let's see what we get now. Let's see what we get now. We get unemployed is on top, employed is on the bottom, and depressed is in the left because it was a 1, and not depressed is a 2, so it's over here. So now we can see the unemployed are 8.5% of them say they're depressed. The employed, only 2.7% of them say they're depressed, right? So now it's a 2x2 table. We could do a chi-square. We could do, if you want, you could calculate the expected values, but I wouldn't even bother. I would just go ahead.
So expected values are unnecessary.
Well, it's going to use the expected values to calculate chi-square, right? In other words, if you're going to do it by hand, you would need to calculate the expected values so you can find the differences between the two boxes.
But on the slide, should I be putting?
No, because it's only an intermediate step. SPSS is going to use it to calculate chi-square. You don't need to do it.
Okay.
It's going to do it in the background, so you really don't need it. So I'm going to go down here to Descriptive Statistics, Crosstabs, and this time I'm going to go to Statistics. I'm going to click Calculate the chi-square, but also Calculate Risk. Okay, click Continue, and I'm going to click OK. Now, notice what this is going to do is now we have our chi-square calculated, and it's significant, right? But we also have a calculation for odds ratio. And how did it get the odds ratio and the relative risk? It did it by taking 60 over 647 divided by, and it calculated that if you're unemployed, you're 3.322 times as likely to be depressed, right? And here's the relative risk.
Is that why you switched it?
That's why I switched it. If I didn't switch it, this would be 0.333.
All right.
You'd be 1/3 as likely to be depressed if you were employed.
I was
right?
thinking
employment would be on the top of the fraction and unemployed would be on the bottom. So I flipped it so that we'd get a whole number down here instead of a fractional number. And we can see it's way different than one confidence interval, right? So this really makes things a lot easier this way by flipping them. Okay, and it was easy to do because I was creating a new variable anyway. Okay, and you could go back and if you wanted to get crazy and test some other stuff, you could go in here and say, gee, I want to compare. If I were to compare employed versus out of the labor market, you could just do these four and compare it to.
I probably won't, only because I'm already like 12 slides.
Yeah,
11 slides.
There you go. Exactly right.
Are we going to get penalized if we go over 110 slides? Because it says on the rubric.
No.
I mean, it's not by much.
You saw something. One girl she spilled over into another.
Well, I saw people. We were supposed to use 24 on. Yeah. For conclusion, I had to reduce it to 20, and I saw other people do the same.
Don't worry about it. It's not a hard and fast rule. Okay. It's just that. But it is a problem if you make it too complicated, right? Because there's a certain value in remember, these are posters. People are going to be walking past these, they're going to glance at them, and they have to be able, they may be walking through a conference where there's 200 of these.
Well, we're supposed
and they're going to walk up and down them, and they're going to glance at them and see what they might be interested in and stop and spend more time there. So they need these to be understandable.
That's what I was going to say. We have to assume they don't have that background, right?
Right. Well, it's not just that they don't have that background, but they have to be able to tell in a glance, oh, this is something I'm interested in versus something I'm not interested in, so they could take a closer look. But I mean, if you got 97 little charts and tables and then like the title doesn't really tell you what it's about.
I like the simplified ones more. I looked at the ones you put on Blackboard.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You saw those.
There was like one that was so super simple.
A lot of them, you could look at them and bing, I know what this is about.
And that's why I decided to take away the variables, because I felt like.
I mean, in practice, that's best, right?
Yeah, I didn't think about it till I started.